G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Trewin. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Today I'm interviewing Tevia Hoalst from TeKoda Accounting, based near Charlotte, North Carolina, United States. Thanks for your time today, Tevia.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Troy.
Let's start with how we know each other. Nikki from We Will Feature You in the Press reached out and thought you'd be a great guest. Pretty clear what they do. It says what it does on the can. So they're a PR, particularly around getting on podcasts at the moment.
Yes. Yep. You do a great job.
You tell our audience a bit about your business, what it does and how it makes money.
Sure. At TeKoda Accounting, our number one is internal accounting of small businesses. So we focus on bookkeeping, bill pay, invoicing, sales tax, payroll, anything internal that you might otherwise have an employee for. We're an outsourced option for that. Couple of things of how we make money, how we keep our clients, why we're a little bit different. We focus first and foremost on customer experience. That is a bar that's not usually hit in accounting, where it's a lot of robots doing your stuff, not wanting to talk to you, whether it's bookkeeping or tax. We are completely different. We have a lot of personality. We want to know our clients. We want to know their goals. We want to actually help them succeed and talk to them and give them insight as a partner in accounting versus someone just churning out reporting. So that's definitely what sets us apart. The other thing about our company is we base solely on culture more than anything. So our team stays for a long time. That gives the clients a lot of consistency. Their files aren't turning over. They know our people. They know they're going to be here. So the mix of those two things gives us incredibly low turnover, which benefits the clients. And that's really how our recurring revenue has held us to be, a seven-figure firm.
Yeah, one of my degrees is Bachelor in Business, majoring in accounting. My one and only ever job out of uni was 3 years at PricewaterhouseCoopers. Plus, with 16 of my own businesses in 3 countries, I've worked with a shitload of accountants around the world, and it's really hard to find those with a personality, and 2, a real customer-centric approach, which sounds like you guys have. So I think that's a real point of difference in the accounting and bookkeeping space. If you can nail that, recruitment, like you said, helps with retention if you get really good people that actually enjoy talking to people, but are also technically good with their debits and credits.
Yes, it's a hard job, but we scour and we hire them. They're all US based. And, we just came back from our company retreat where we meet in person because we work remotely, and we do everything we can to keep them happy and keep them on staff.
How did you start out?
I actually started in corporate. I have a business degree in international business, and I had a finance background in accounting. I worked some in restaurants coming up and learned some accounting on the ground in that way in business, and kind of got my love of small business from there. I worked for a customs importer, and I just got to see different businesses in the back end. I went out to a big corporate firm and just learned that the corporate culture is really unhealthy. It's not a great place to be. I spent 5 years there working on financial analytics for them. And I just had a couple of things come up in life where I had some opportunities, and I got the entrepreneur bug and looked at my husband and said, I don't know what we're even going to offer, but we have to offer a better culture for people to come and be. And so that was the base of everything. And off we went. It was me to start the first year in 2018. And then we rolled from there and added people every year. And we're up to 13 people, and just having a great time serving our clients.
That's great. So 2018, 6 years ago, how old were you when you decided to make the jump?
Oh, gosh. I was 30. Yeah.
That's terrific. And any other key numbers you're happy to share to illustrate the growth? You mentioned full-time equivalent, you started as yourself and you're now up to 13 team members. Any other numbers you can share to tell the audience how the business has grown?
Yeah, we go off of scaling up, which is Vern Harnish's method of business. And then EOS is an offshoot of that we kind of look at both. And so I always communicate that in what he calls gazelle growth is at least 20% or more, as we discussed. And we've definitely exceeded that every single year, year over year, and are on that track still.
That's great. Congratulations. And for the
Yeah.
audience, Vern's book, Scaling Up, is excellent. The book before that, The Rockefeller Habits, I'm not sure if you've read that. That's also another great classic book.
Yeah, very beneficial.
When was the moment you felt like you had succeeded?
Oh gosh. I would say, I mean, success can be defined in so many different ways. So I would say there was like small successes, just knowing that I had people wanting me first to do their work based on the network that I had. I mean, that alone was a big push forward to continue. But I would say the largest success is when we really had a team of probably 5 to 8. And my partner is phenomenal at process. And so it was the advent of her and that team where we really started dialing in process, and it felt really strong. So now what we're actually focused on is acquisition, because that feeling of success led us to, okay, we can take this and now we can really ramp it and we can start doing acquisitions. And we have the foundation in our team and our processes to control and be stable, with really some exciting growth in the next coming years.
What does success look like to you?
Success to me is hitting what we're set out to do. And so that would be first and foremost, always focusing on the culture of the company, because I think as leadership, if I focus on my staff being really solid and taken care of, and they want to be there and they're putting out the best work, they're going to take care of the clients. So that would be success number one. Two would be, hitting the goals that we set out. We started out with our BHAGs and we've already been knocking them down. And now, we're having to set them bigger because we've hit so many of them and realized, they probably needed to be bigger in the first place. So that feels pretty good to be having to rework those and challenge ourselves harder.
BHAG for the audience, big, hairy, audacious goal, coined by Jim Collins in, I think it was Built to Last was his first book, where he coined that phrase. Yeah, it's a great one. Number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
I think it has to be finding your differentiator. There's a million companies that are going to be in your same industry, but identifying your client, identifying how you serve that client, and the communication of that, the successful communication of that is where I think you find that connection, that you have those ongoing leads.
Yeah, totally agree. How did you fund your business?
Self-funded. We have always been self-funded, and that's kind of my philosophy. I haven't taken on any debt. I haven't needed to. I do have cash set aside for acquisitions, but we've done it all bootstrapped.
No other investors in the business just yet?
Not at this time. Mm-mm.
And you haven't leveraged SBA loans, small business administration loans. Well, I just love this concept in the US where, correct me if I'm wrong, you can get 70 to 80% of the loan for an acquisition guaranteed by the federal government. The bank obviously still lends you the money, but you haven't leveraged any of those SBA loans for acquisition?
So for the go forward on our acquisition funds, I did get an SBA loan for that. Yes, but we haven't tapped into that yet. It's just sitting, waiting for the deal.
Yeah, that's great because I think it's an awesome scheme by the federal government in the US. There's probably other countries, certainly not here in Australia, but it just makes so much sense. It's protecting jobs. It's allowing people to retire. Something like 90% of businesses that are put on the market for sale don't sell. So it's a really good scheme for the government to protect jobs and help, further growth. If you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
100%. Yeah, we have a really, I would encourage anyone, honestly, to look into it because it's an industry where people are not going into. So, CPAs, bookkeepers, it's shrinking, but businesses are growing in the US. And so there's a mismatch, and usually to the detriment of the business owner, which is where we step in with high service, because CPA, tax firms, bookkeeping firms, they're frankly getting away with having quite a low bar, but having quite high pricing because there just aren't enough options. So there is quite a lot of opportunity to come in, assuming that you know how to produce really great work. and really, raise that bar and have people really be great. I mean, our client turnover is less than 1% because we give something more and clients really, resonate with that.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, low turnover. And what's your take on the doom and gloom around AI coming in and killing a lot of industries? I heard years ago law was going to be one of the first ones desecrated. Do you have any concerns for your industry?
I don't at this time. And it stems from we really take on a philosophy of instead of having a retroactive view at what's coming and kind of having a pessimistic, this is going to kill our industry, we prefer to look at what are the tools coming and how do we leverage them to help us stay relevant. So we do use AI, we're happy with it. The reason I don't think it's going to completely decimate our industry is because people are either numbers people or they aren't. And having AI produce something for you is not going to translate it into something you understand or something usable. You can go further and you can say, now tell me what this means or how to use it. But that takes a lot of skill that a lot of people are, at least in my experience, are not going to put the time into. They really want to consult in a warm body to say, this is what this means and, help you along with that. So I'm not worried about it from that perspective because AI, I don't think is going to replace the human element.
Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so our audience can learn from it?
Oh, yes. So the first manager I ever had on my team was not the right pick, but I was an early entrepreneur and I am quite the visionary. I am not the detail in the, company process person. And so I desperately needed someone else to fill that seat. And the first person that I chose just frankly wasn't the right pick for that seat. And I was taking too long to recognize that because I am the opposite of a micromanager and I will hand away your job and just say, go do and be great. And I had to realize that she was failing in that position and the company and the clients were suffering. And out of sheer luck, I had the right fit come in about the same time. And we were able to transition over to her and she's just been a phenomenal success in that position. So little bit of luck in there for sure.
What area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
Definitely growth in leadership. I feel like I'm a natural leader, but at every stage of our company, it's a position that I have never held before. And it's an ask that I've never fulfilled. And so I'm extremely proactive about getting out into business communities. I'm a part of entrepreneur organization, and I intentionally try to be the smallest fish in the room so that I am always learning, always asking, and recognizing what path I need to be on to be the most successful for what I need to be for our company.
What have you enjoyed the least about managing fast growth?
The least would be the team. And what I mean by that is I'm not a detail person and the particular team that we have is extremely high detail. And so I have to lean on my partner a lot because she has the skill set to fulfill the need of the team for the details. And the example I would give is I still own a lot of the sales. And so we'll hear back from the team through onboarding that they have a lot of like follow up questions of, well, I want to know this little nitty gritty thing. And it started from me, and I'm there to close the sale, right? I'm there to make the relationship. And so I don't always have a plethora of details at which they would like to have. And so there's a constant back and forth about what's the right amount of information to be gathering for them in those initial times and what do they need to be happy with getting, and then at later steps they can fill those holes. So that's been the hardest part, is how to keep them happy with the detail level they need, but do what I need to do, which is stay high level and being visionary and not down in the details of the day to day.
What do you love most about growing a small business?
I love the challenge. I love to see who's come before and who's done it, and to say, how can we do it? How can we do it better? I don't think they have any better skills that we don't come to the table with. And so I'm just super excited to see what we can do, and the challenge of kind of breaking those ceilings.
What has been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
Mindset shift. I would say making sure that I stay on top of the company and not in the company. And because I do still, the only part of the company I still work in is client interaction and sales. And that can pull me in, as I was just mentioning, into the day to day. And that does not push us forward for our growth scale plan. So the mindset of being able to fulfill that, but then shift out and spend most of my time high level and where are we going and where's the next deal and, finding our acquisition and things like that.
The number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
Resilience. In the beginning, you have to be everything, and you're not good at everything. No one is, and nor was I. And the resilience, but also the know-how of what are your quadrants. What are you good at? What should you be doing? And having the instinct or finding, someone who can help you know when to plug in the next person that's going to be the right person to let them do their thing and you do yours.
I think about half the guests answer that question with either resilience, persistence, or grit. It's really important, especially in small business, because we go into it thinking it's much easier than obviously what it actually is.
Sure. Yeah. And I would argue resilience and grit, probably same thing and equally important.
Are you struggling to find time to work on your business? Or is your health and relationships out of balance? Lost confidence, or are your weeks filled with fear? Our free 10-day Transform Your Performance online course shows you how to unlock at least 5 hours a week. We start with the secret to guaranteed success, and with over 100 lessons and free tools, you will become more focused, productive, and feel more in control of your business, health, and relationships. GrowSmallBusiness.com.
Can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, and advice for those listening?
Oh, yes. Yes. So we are incredibly picky about our team. We call our team our unicorns because we work at a high octane rate and we really put out really high level work for our clients and try to, like I said, go above and beyond. So we have had people, that come in and we thought were the right fit and they just don't end up having that either work ethic that we need or maybe the right mindset. We're very forward thinking. And sometimes we get a few that just don't match that. So we definitely, we actually keep an eye on, this is one of the things we just discussed at retreat. We keep an eye on company turnover in the employees, and we have a goal for that. And on the whole, we were way off on that this year, but it was because of people that we chose to move out. We only had one that amicably went off to be a CPA, but we moved out the rest. And it's just because we are adamant of having the right fit for the right mindset for our team. So that's been a big learning curve of how to find that.
Have you done much to understand or learn more around effective recruitment and improve that procedure?
Yes, I will give all the credit to my partner. We use a tool called Culture Index, and it has been phenomenally. It's been the right tool for us. We use it to hire, we use it to fire. We also use it to manage our team and to know if their workload is appropriate for them, or again, if they're in that right seat for what they need to be doing. And that's been a game changer to get the hiring right. We use top grading in our interviewing. And we have found that the mix of that, and we also go through really extensive like screen share examples they have to go through. And for what we do in our work, we need to know that they have the knowledge that we need. So the mix of that really has been the differentiator for us.
So you give them technical tests or projects during the recruitment process? That's
live.
great. Yeah,
Yes.
that's great. Really
Yes.
good. What are some of the things you recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with the growth?
This is my favorite. So I will give us credit. We just won an Inc. 5000 award for culture on our team. And as a pretty small business, that's a big deal to get that recognition. So I will talk about this all day, every day. I think first and foremost, it is the commitment to understanding who is on your team. Because even if you go to Culture Index, we hire a lot of the same profile of person, but each person cares about different things. They need different things. And when we commit to understanding what that is, but also be flexible enough in what we offer them to fulfill that, some people need more money, some people want more time, they want a more flexible schedule. When we commit to making that fit to the point that it makes sense for the business, then they appreciate that and they give back tenfold. And getting those things right us being a remote company, as I mentioned, we do meet up in person once a year. There is no replacement for being together, and being able to hug and laugh and have those moments. So we just commit to culture. We have a office space, a virtual office space that we go in and we kind of pop in and we'll do parties. We'll do movie nights remotely. We'll mail them stuff, and then we'll do crafts together, just anything to create a bond. We really commit to that for sure.
Tell our audience how you've handled balance.
How we handle balance. So this is an interesting question. We just went through this with the team, and it goes back to what I said. Everybody's answer is different. So we actually had every team member answer, what does work-life balance mean to you? And I would say a lot of the teams was similar. It's a nice work-life balance that you'd expect to hear. But when it came to like my answer as the leadership of the company, that was a very different answer. And I prefaced it by telling them, I don't expect your answer to be my answer, but this is my passion project. This is my baby. I also consider it my hobby. So my balance looks very different to theirs. And I think that's okay. And understanding that difference and allowing room for that is where I think we find wins in that.
How much professional development have you invested in yourself? Obviously, there's the technical training you need to keep up with on the accounting side. And you mentioned EO and et cetera, but it sounds like you do a fair bit.
Yes, I have been from the beginning of the company. I have been in some version of EO. They have EOA, which is the accelerators program that I started in. I have always been a part of that. I have a speech coach, and I just work very hard at getting out there and, being the leader that this company needs when it's not, an early 7 figures, but 8-9 figure company, and what that takes.
Have you had mentors or coaches along the way?
I have. Early on in EOA, they lined us up with mentors. And so those were other EO members that signed up for mentorship. And it's just a great experience. I would encourage anyone to do that.
Do you have a board of directors or advisors?
I do not.
All right, Tevia, we're on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
I would say the hardest thing in growing a small business is going back to the words we were saying before, just the perseverance. Every day is not going to be a win. And visionaries, entrepreneurs have to slug through and see the goal and continue on, even on those slow days, and not be kind of beat down by that.
Favorite business book which has helped you the most?
Awesomely Simple by John Spence. I have really enjoyed and gone back to that numerous times.
No, I haven't heard that one. What's that? Give us a bit of an outline on that.
So it's, as it says, it has 6 simple principles in it that you can go through and use in your business. The main one that kind of shouted out to me was about culture and how you have to just be dogged about, if you really care about the culture of your company, you must move out bad apples, even if they're high producers, and committing to that, because it will sour the bunch. And that was my biggest takeaway from that book.
Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
I very much enjoy listening to Diary of a CEO. I like the variety of guests that he has on and his interview style. So I would suggest that one to anybody.
One tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
A tool. I think getting a really good client management system is important for automation. There's a lot of manual work that can come with that, and you've got to get that off your plate from your team.
Finally, my favorite question. What would you tell yourself on day one of starting out 6 years ago?
That it's going to be worth it. Just continue, dig in, love every second of it, and make it fun along the way.
Great. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Tevia. I really enjoyed our chat. Congratulations to you and the team on the growth, starting out on your own to now 13 FTE, over 7 figures top line, growing over 20% per annum. That's phenomenal growth, and getting into the Inc. 5000 on the culture metric. So helping a lot of small businesses out there, bringing accountants with personalities and bookkeepers. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Troy.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Please leave a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. It means more small business owners will find our cast and help people with their business growth journey.